Howdy folks, it's a little bit spooky with this setup, isn't it? So the reason for the light box is I am going to be doing some line art to start with on this watercolour paper with this Sakura Micron pen, which you can't see, so let's just get on with it. I've never tried to film with my light box before, so see how this goes. So, as you can see, I've gone for a blue outline. Well, I hope you can see that anyway. I've never done anything with coloured outlines before, so I wanted to give this a shot. I've got this lovely multi-pack of Sakura Micron coloured pens that my husband got me for Christmas, and I wanted to use them. So, I had this idea in my head for doing these dragon illustrations based on the seasons, because I like doing my dragon portraits, but I don't often do a full-bodied dragon. And then I thought, ooh, I could do seasonal ones. So this is my winter dragon. And the idea being that the colour palette that I'll use for them is kind of inspired by the seasons. So that's why I wanted to do the blue outline in this one. I wanted to keep a really cold colour palette with cold wintry weather in mind. It has been pretty miserably cold and wintry where I live at the moment. I don't know about you guys. I mean, my hometown has been underwater for some of it, so that's fun. I'm kind of ready for spring now, I think, but I would have liked to have seen some nice snow, which I tried to do in this image. But as you can see, I've got a sketch underneath, and my light box is just allowing me to trace that sketch with my Micron pen. I don't often do this. In fact, I think this is only the second time I've used my light box, which was a super cheap one from Amazon. I think it cost me about £10, so would recommend. The only other time I've done it is to trace my friend Ian Richardson's artwork of a xenomorph that he did a sketch for, and I thought it was fabulous. And I wanted to see it inked, so I did it myself. But once the line art was done, this is what it looks like, and I taped it down because I am going to use my Winsor & Newton Copman watercolour set. I've barely used this. I'm not a watercolour artist. My husband bought this for my birthday last year, possibly the year before actually. So yes, it's an underutilised palette, but we're going to fix that today. So when I showed my husband the outline for this and told him my intentions, he said, "Oh, you're not doing it with your markers?" I said, No, I want to do it with my watercolours. And he said, "Oh, okay, it's just that you're better with your markers." And he's right, I am. I'm not a watercolour artist, but I want to be. Like, I get a lot of enjoyment out of using my watercolours, but at the same time, I'm not very good at it. I've never really been taught how to use them, so I've just kind of tried to teach myself. And by teach myself, I mean literally just play with the paint. I've never watched any courses or something, which is probably something I should rectify, but there we go. I tried on this one. There was a couple of big challenges in here for me, not least of which being the fact that I was using watercolours, but it's also the colour palette. I really wanted it to be in this really snowy landscape, and of course that just kind of means that there's barely any colour anywhere. So I tried to think of it as like, okay, well, there's been snow, but obviously it's maybe started to melt, or maybe there wasn't that much snow, so you could still see bits of what was underneath, but it was obvious it had been snowing and it's still wintry. So yeah, it kind of felt like, I kind of feel like I'm not as happy with this as I would have liked to have been, full disclosure. I was happy with it at this stage. I was really pleased with how the background was going, and you know, I was pleased with the level of detail I was putting in, like the rocks and this like archway and the rune stones there and things like that. But as I went on with the illustration, it became clear that I should have planned better. So I knew this was going to take me a while. Every now and again I get this itch to do a full-on fantasy illustration with a really detailed background, and I think the last time that this happened to me was the illustration I did of a dryad, which was several years ago now. I keep thinking I'd like to draw this again with that one, but it's so detailed and I liked doing the original so much that I don't know if I'd have the patience to do it again. But every time I do want to do one of these illustrations, I know that they take me a really long time. And I thought, yeah, this is fine. I've got plenty of time. And I actually started this last weekend thinking, oh yeah, I'll start it nice and early. I won't be left in a troublesome state when it comes to uploading my video on next Sunday. And then we had like the worst week. So my husband got really poorly. He's pretty much been out of action, sleeping most of the weekend because he's just exhausted. Our car broke down and ended up, we've now got a quote for over £2,000 for the car. Yeah, and there was a bunch more stuff, like we're trying to sell our house, we've had loads of house viewings, and it was just a horrendously busy week. And so all the work that I did getting ahead of myself last weekend meant nothing in the end, and I was kind of rushing to finish this. And I think had I have had more time, had I have not had quite such a busy week, then I would have planned this better tonally. And what I mean by that was, when I get to painting the actual dragon himself, I realise there's not a lot of contrast in the piece, which I kind of got to feeling at around this stage, other than those trees which really stand out from the background, which I like. I loved the trees. The background itself is covered in snow and then these pale rocks with these random green crystals, which I just threw in there because I like drawing crystals. And so I was like, oh, hang on, I'd always pictured this being a white dragon, and then it's a white background. So all this time I'm painting these trees and painting this background thinking, how on earth am I going to do the dragon in the end? And I always leave my characters till last. I think I've said this several times. Whenever I'm painting something with a background, I'm like, well, I'll do the characters last then. And even when I was doing these crystals, because I'd thought, well, okay, maybe I'll use some greens on the dragon. And then I started painting the crystals green. I was like, oh shoot, I can't use green on the dragon now because I've used green on the crystals and they're right next to him. Okay, I'll have to come up with another colour theory. And if I'd have planned it in advance, then that wouldn't have been a problem. So, lesson learned, do like tonal compositions and do some colour planning before diving into a piece like this. Whoops. But because I was so I was super inspired to just get going, and I don't have a lot of time to do a lot of artwork, so the time that I do artwork, it's for this channel generally, and I'm fine with that, because that's part of the reason why I started YouTube, was because I wanted to get that time to draw again, because being a mama is hard and I wanted to keep that part of me that loved to draw. And so having a YouTube channel forces me to create something every week. And I thought I was ready to create one of my big detailed illustrations, but here I am at like 5 to 11 recording voiceover on a Sunday to upload my video tonight. So don't be like me. I still need to figure out how to be a mom, how to be an artist, and how to get back to work. But yeah, anyway, the painting. I do enjoy it. I did enjoy working on it, and I do enjoy watercolours. I just need to get better at them, but I'm only going to get better at them by practicing. So yeah, I was happy with the detail I was able to get in this picture, because I did do quite a lot of fine details with this brush, and I cannot remember the name of the brush. My husband got me them for Christmas, and I think they were a really cheap set of detail brushes from Amazon, They did have a bit of a funky smell to them when I first got them though. I will say that. I opened the packaging and I was like, oh, that's pretty toxic. But they are very good brushes. So as you can see here, the contrast between the dragon and the background is pretty non-existent. And I started to get really upset about this. And I thought, well, okay, maybe if I add some more purple to the sky, then the blue of the dragon's wings will stand out a bit more. No. And by the time I finished this picture, I was pretty angry, actually, because I'd spent so much time and I was so excited to make something, and I was like, this is going to be like something I'm going to want to sell prints of. Oh yeah, Zach decided to jump on it too. That was helpful. Bless him. But yeah, I thought this was going to be something I'm going to be super pleased with, and I'm going to want prints of this. It's going to be a really nice detailed image, and I'm going to be really proud of it at the end, and I'm not, and I hate that. Like, there's nothing worse than spending so much time on an image, and I had up to 4 hours of footage on this. Now, bearing in mind I didn't actually film myself doing all the line work because it just gets pretty samey. So yeah, I don't know, it was probably about 5 or 6 hours total that I spent on this piece, and to know that you've invested that much time and don't feel like it's as amazing as you were hoping is quite frustrating. So in order to try and get some of that contrast back, I used this really nice metallic watercolour paint I've got. It's by Kuretake, I think. I'll try and link to it if I can find it in the description. And it's this really nice thick creamy metallic watercolour paint. You have to kind of spray water on it and then leave it to activate for a little while to get it to work, but when you do, you can get this really nice effect. And I think he brought some of the contrast back to at least his horns, but then I ended up grabbing my brush pen and going around the whole thing thinking maybe that'll help, and I don't think it did. I think it actually made me dislike the image more. I liked the fine detail I'd got with the thinner micron, but I don't know whether this helped or not. I don't know. I think as an artist you're super critical of your own work, and it's dangerous. But I showed it to my husband and he's like, it's fine. So here we are at the end, and it is what it is. I feel how I feel about it. I like the shininess of the metallic watercolours that I put on it, but I just wish that I'd have been able to get the contrast and what I wanted, what I saw in my head. I'd be really interested if you could let me know in the comments down below what you'd have done to change this picture and get more contrast in. I do like the shininess though. Anyway, if you've come this far, thank you so much, and maybe leave a big like for the video, and if you hit that subscribe button, we'll love you forever. I am so close to 100 subscribers and I cannot believe that, so please join us. But until next time, I'll see you later. Bye for now. Shiny.